Men have been known to do some pretty messed up things in the name of love, but this man takes the cake. This is the story of a woman who was buried alive by her lover after she broke her virginity vow. I'm your host, and this is our channel. Welcome to the most amazing and horrifying stories from around the world. Make sure to subscribe for more awesome videos. It was 2017 when a man from Yemen named Salem al-Jahan decided to take his own life after he found out that his fiancée had slept with another man. The only way he could think of to punish her for what he thought was an unforgivable sin was to bury her alive, and so he did. He took her lifeless body, wrapped it in a blanket, and laid her to rest in a shallow grave. What he didn't know was that she was still very much alive. Horrified, she clawed her way out of the grave and stumbled away into the desert night. But eventually she passed out and was never seen again. To this day, nobody knows exactly where she is, or if she even survived the ordeal. So, how did Salem get away with this? And what led him to such an extreme course of action? Well, you'll just have to keep watching to find out. Salem grew up in a small village in Yemen with his parents and 5 siblings. His father worked as a farmer, and his mother stayed at home taking care of the kids. Salem was the eldest son, and from a young age he was expected to look after his younger brothers and sisters. Unlike his siblings, Salem had big dreams for his future. He wanted to go to college and become a businessman. In order to help put himself through school, he got a job as a street vendor selling perfume. It was hard work, but it paid off. After several years of saving money, he had enough to enroll in a university. While studying business, Salem met the love of his life, a beautiful Yemeni woman named Abia. The two instantly hit it off and they started dating. At the time, Abia was a virgin and promised to remain that way until she got married. That is, until one fateful evening. According to Abia, she was at a friend's house when several men showed up claiming to be friends of her father. They asked to speak to Abia alone, and when her father left the room, they pressured her into having sex with them. Poor Abia resisted at first, but eventually gave in. She knew that if she didn't, they would force themselves on her anyway, and to this day, she has no idea why they did it. They just wanted to make sure that she wasn't a prude before her wedding night. Abia felt disgusted with herself and immediately called Salem to tell him about what happened. She was certain that their relationship was doomed, but Salem surprised her by saying that he still loved her and would marry her despite what had happened. The couple made plans to elope and start a new life together. Meanwhile, Abia's family were furious when they heard about her plans to marry Salem. They believed that he had seduced their daughter and taken her virginity, and they were determined to punish him. On the day of the wedding, Abia's brothers and cousins surrounded the venue and beat Salem to a bloody pulp. Then they dragged him to the local police station and filed a complaint. As punishment, Salem was sent to jail. When Abia heard what had happened to her fiancé, she tried to go to the police and tell them that she was the one who had slept with other men, but nobody listened to her. In fact, her own father physically assaulted her and threw her out of the house. She was forced to wander the streets and sleep under bridges. After 3 months in jail, Salem was released, but he was now penniless and without any friends or family. He wandered the desert in search of work when he came across a woman who agreed to marry him in exchange for money. Salem accepted the proposal, and soon the two were wed. However, on their wedding night, Salem couldn't consummate the marriage because he was still in love with Abia the following morning. Salem went to see Abia and told her that he had married another woman. To his surprise, Abia said that she was still in love with him and wanted to be with him, not knowing that Salem had already married someone else. The two lovers were overjoyed and they decided to run away together. Unfortunately, shortly after they left town, Abia began to realize that she was pregnant. It didn't take a genius to figure out whose baby it was, and Salem was absolutely furious. He demanded that Abia get an abortion, but she refused. Instead, she said that they should just get married and raise the baby together. Salem replied that she was nothing but a whore, and that she had brought this upon herself. He then dragged her to a nearby sand dune, tied her up and buried her alive. Salem then returned home, told his wife that Abia had died and went to sleep. Abia, on the other hand, struggled to free herself from the ropes. After several minutes, she managed to dig herself free and clawed her way out of the grave. She then ran into the desert and collapsed. Unfortunately, she never regained consciousness and was never seen again. When Salem realized what he had done, he immediately went to the police and confessed to burying Abia alive. He was subsequently arrested and charged with murder. However, despite the evidence against him, Salem insisted that Abia had died after giving birth to his child. Because there was no body, the police couldn't prove otherwise, and after weighing all the evidence, they decided to let him go. As you can imagine, Salem's wife was absolutely disgusted by being filed for divorce. But because of his status as a celebrity, Salem had no trouble finding another woman to marry. Today, he lives in a different city with his new wife and works as a car salesman. Every day he wakes up and lives his life with the knowledge that he killed the love of his life. And, to make matters worse, he'll probably never know whether or not she lived long enough to give birth to his child. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think of Salem's actions? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, be sure to subscribe for more awesome videos. I've been your host. This has been our channel, and we'll catch you next time.